Happy Taurus season, everyone. This episode is brought to you by Shaya, the Indigo, for the May Energy Forecast Report. As a disclaimer for this episode, it was recorded on Monday, May 2nd, and we experienced some significant technical difficulties. And being that we are spiritualists, we understood that the incoming Mercury retrograde may have some influence in these communication glitches. We thank you and appreciate you for your patience with us on the MetaSpiritualist Podcast for this episode coming out much later than anticipated. Now, with that said, we are in the luxurious sign of Taurus. We started the month out with the energy of the second new moon from April, which also happened to be a lunar eclipse. The numerology energy for the start of the month is a number 3. And this will bring in some stability for us, but it doesn't come without some communication disruptions, possible tower moments, and other mishaps. On May 16th, we will experience another lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. And the end of the month, we circle back around to a harmonious cycle with a partial solar eclipse. So let's get into this episode. Take a listen. The MetaSpiritualist is guided by the creator of the universe through prayer, meditation, and sound healing.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Microphone check 1 2 1 2. And
Hey.
Shay, yeah. It's Taurus season, baby. How you doing?
Yes.
How are you
doing? I'm great. I love Taurus season. Love it, love it, love it. So comfortable
and
warm and stuff.
I know because you love me.
Literally. Facts of life. I love you to pieces.
Oh, girl.
What are you doing for your birthday?
Oh, for my birthday, girl, there's so many people that's going to be here. My 2 aunts, my mom's 2 sisters are going to be here. One of them is planning to be here to help paint because the kids want murals painted in their rooms since we moved into the house last year. So she's going to paint. And then 2 of my uncles will be here. My mom's 2 older brothers. And then my best friend, the one that I was with last year, during this time.
Wow.
She'll be here and we are going to have Jamaican brunch and dinner for my birthday.
Yes.
And karaoke or a jam session in the backyard. Like it's going down.
That sounds amazing. Pour up a cocktail for me.
I wish you could be here, girl. One of these years we're going to be together for our birthdays.
Yeah. I need that.
Yeah.
I need that. I need some girl time with some real girlfriends.
Yeah, you do need that.
Because my life revolves around children. My mama. That's what I do. Yeah. I mother.
Shaya.
Yes, ma'am.
We do it right now. We are in the middle, or actually we're coming out of the second new moon of April coming into the beginning of May, and it's a lunar eclipse. Tell us what significance does this have, and then you got it from there.
Yeah, so leading into May, it's already kicked off pretty intensely from the new moon that you were just mentioning. That was on April 30th. Which was a partial lunar eclipse. And just a quick reminder that eclipse season or eclipses in general emphasizes whatever moon there is. Like a lunar eclipse on a full moon is like a full moon on steroids. Okay. But this is a partial lunar eclipse, but it's still an eclipse. And so for this lunar eclipse to fall on a new moon in Taurus, that's kicking us into May, a lot of very intense transformation is happening. It's a new season, literally. Okay. Physically and metaphysically, it is a new season. It's almost like shifting gears, you know, to a totally different type of function, but still moving forward towards something. Um, and the new moon, where it actually falls on to start the actual month of May, because you'll still be we're still in that new moon energy from the 30th on the 1st. So, and that's how you started that question off to bring in the new moon on the 30th into that energy that's still there on the 1st to kick off May. Um, so May, numerology wise, if we're looking at May 1st, 2022, this number breaks down to 12, which breaks down to 3. 3 is a universal number. It's a very nurturing number. It's very communicative and very intelligent. A 3 is sort of like say someone who's a life path number 3. They're kind of like Geminis because 3 has a lot to do with communication. But there's still a nurturing energy to the 3 as it relates to the 3s, the 6s, and the 9s, which is a whole nother rabbit hole. So, but that's how we're starting off May numerology wise. And at the same time, this is when this new moon in Taurus, which was a partial lunar eclipse, was fully active. Okay. So that, I mean, that's a good transit, being that it's taking place in Taurus season, with the new moon and the sun being in Taurus. That brings a lot of stability to the shock of this transition. Because, like I said, we're shifting gears for it to be a new moon during a fresh new season, literally. And we're kicking this off with an eclipse on top of that. Right. So this is transformation down to your bone marrow, okay, spiritually. This now, is like a purging.
The last thing you said that I heard was about purging. And then I had a question for you.
Okay.
Okay, so you were saying about this being a new season. So even though the spring equinox was in March, which signifies the spring, why does it feel that May is really the new season of spring, so to speak?
That to me is seasons in general are like that. It takes a while before it really kicks off and it's in full gear. Mm-hmm. The start of it is not an overnight thing. Sometimes it is, though. There's been plenty of times down here where I'm from where the day of spring, the first day of spring, it's all of a sudden from cold to spring.
Yeah.
But you still have to go through, the April showers and all that to really nurture it so that May, you're there. That's an earth season too, zodiac wise. So we are embodying it. We are that energy. That energy is here, as opposed to being burst in. Mm-hmm. So I look at it like that too, because a lot of major transits that happen, we feel long before it happens, or we don't, or we get a heads up about it, within our intuition, but we still don't see it fully manifest until a little bit later. It's like that when it comes to pretty much everything. Like even magic, that's not an overnight thing, even though there's ways to do it to make it quick. But most of the time, it takes a second for it to just ease in there, and it's there.
Girl, listen, the candle ritual that we did during the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, now, when is this going to show up?
Right. And that's a prime example. And
Yeah.
because we did it 7 days straight, the results gonna come for real.
That
And
was
I've
pretty
gotten the hint.
intense too.
Yeah.
That was an
Yeah.
intense one.
That color blue was really comforting. It brought a real sense of
Peace.
peace.
Hmm.
Right.
We was thinking of, yes, girl. Ew.
Because we connected, girl. But but I did look up the color blue when just general research that I do all the time, and it did say, and this was after we had already started the ritual, like a few days in, and I'm finding out information about the color blue, and it does promote peace, and
Yeah.
I really did get that. Um, so
No, it was,
I
I will say that was my first full, like I've lit 7-day candles and I light candles all the time, but being intentional about,
Mhm.
and every day, like there was something new to experience during the ritual. I was like, yo, this is like super dope, you know?
Mhm.
And it felt like that week, it was weird because while we were in it, it felt like the days were really long.
Oh, girl, I feel like all of my days have been running together as of lately.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even tell you, I've just been on the go. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so looking back at my notes here. So this purge that's taking place that's really causing us to go within. I know a lot of astrology savvy people that's listening are saying, anything having to do with the purge or transformation, that's Scorpio energy. Yes, that is 1000% correct. And Scorpio is not left out of this equation at all. Scorpio is very present because May 16th, there's going to be a lunar eclipse in Scorpio,
Oh, wow.
which is a full moon, which is the night of the full moon on top of that in Scorpio.
Oh, the day after
So,
my birthday?
yeah. Yeah.
Oh
So,
my
look,
gosh.
that's why the energy of this purge and, because Scorpio energy gets under your skin. It gets under your skin in an emotional way because it's water. And it stings, right? Because this is a scorpion. So this is like ego deaths and um, shadow work for real. Scorpio energy represents all things shadow and darkness. You have to. I heard this YouTube lady. I can't remember her name right now. I watch so many readers and stuff, but she was talking about astrology and the different elements. And when she got to water, she said Cancer energy is the ocean.
Mhm.
It's the ocean or it's the lake. That was her definition for Cancer. She said Pisces is the ecosystems and the life forms and all of that's in the ocean, which also includes the precipitation from the clouds and all of that is Pisces energy. And then she said Scorpio is the bottom of that ocean where it's dark.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And it's still water. So it's still healing, even though it's dark down there. But this is parts of ourselves that we need to face and see in order for it to rise up and fully be released or transmuted. And that's what creates that transformation.
Yeah.
Now, me being a Scorpio rising, this is energy that's like, this is my everyday life. Okay, with rising being my rising being in Scorpio, Transformation, massive transformations have been a theme for my life. This is my first house. So I'm always going through major transformations, which again is intense. Scorpio energy's middle name is intensity too. So this isn't light stuff. It's things that you do not want to face. It's triggering things, trauma, childhood trauma, like the root of things. That's what Scorpio energy is. And that's the side of, water, the water element that brings transformation. You have to have some type of breakdown or a tower moment for a transformation to occur. Sometimes that's what has to happen.
Right.
So there's a lot of towers that's going to be coming. Lots of,
I can't take no more towers.
Well, it's more like, things that we're closing out that triggers us. Okay, that's the thing. So it's really is going to be things that's already been happening. We've gotten through the hard part.
Okay.
Really. Right now, we're just working on releasing the trauma from it, or releasing the, if you're still triggered by certain things, that's something that you got to look at when Scorpio energy is popping. It's going to make you look at it.
You made me think of something when you talked about the deep, dark part of the ocean. That's where the sea creatures that are really ugly, they glow in the dark. But when you see them in the light, they're like really ugly. And my son, he's Capricorn, but I need to find out where his Scorpio placement is, because he's been fascinated with sea creatures, mainly the sea star, and also space. But he gravitated towards the sea creatures first. And that's really interesting, because you think about, like, what are those hidden things that we don't want people to see about us?
Right. And that's that question is the whole point of these types of transits. That is the universe causing us to ask ourselves, why am I triggered by this? Why is, and like I said, this is energy that we're dealing with regarding stuff that happened already.
Right.
We've gone through the stuff. We've gotten past it. But this is one of those moments where we're fighting the war after the battle is over. And so that makes it an eternal thing. That means you're traumatized, or you're just resentful or bitter, or all those things. I mean, this is, like I said, it's an emotional look at yourself from a really, really, really deep, dark place. But it's still a purging. So, the after effects of this is going to be transformative, and it's going to be enlightening. And, it's just going to be more energy that's going to push us forward. And then I'm going to fast forward to the end of the month.
Okay.
May 31st, 2022. That number breaks down to 6. If you add all of those up.
All right, let's get. Listen,
get this done.
This is this energy. I don't know what's going on, but we listen. We about to.
No, look. Mercury retrograde is coming. That's why.
And isn't there Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, or that just passed?
No, well, no, that was in Scorpio.
The Pluto retrograde?
Yes. Pluto was retrograde in Scorpio, its home sign. And that's why, it's a lot of really intense purging going on, because spirit is making us face everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Mercy. Oh, okay. So I got the end of the month, May 31st, 2022.
Okay. So That date, numerology wise, breaks down to 6. The number 6 is the number of harmony. So we started out the month with the date being a 3, breaking down to a 3. And then the full moon falls on May 16th. The numerology of that date breaks down to 9. The full moon will be in Scorpio, and every number has an astrological equivalent. And the full moon will be in Scorpio, and Scorpio's numerological equivalent is 9. So that's a lot of intense Scorpio energy. But it breaks down to 9. So we started off at 3, then 9, and then ending the month on May 31st, 2022, which breaks down to 6. So, like I said earlier in the beginning, the numbers 3, 6, and 9 are really important. They're the universal numbers. This is what connects all of life. The universe spins in 360 degrees. 3 plus 6 is also 9. So those 3 numbers is what brings harmony to all things. It's what brings balance. And the work that we have to do to actively maintain that balance, because balance is a balancing act. It's not just you're sitting there. That's when we go into the number 4, and it's a foundation that's stern and sturdy and firm. That's 4. But 2, you only have 2. You're going to have to balance 2 things. And that's, your gravity or your resistance, or that's how you balance. That's what the number 2 is. It's a balancing act. So that's why the number 6 is balancing on its head, and the number 9 is balancing on its tail. Then the 3 is just balanced because of the fact that it's a trinity. 3 is the number of all trinities: mother, father, child, past, present, future, mind, body, spirit. That covers everything pretty much, the number 3. And then the 6 brings harmony to all of those things. And the 9 is just the warm, nurturing part of existence where you feel whole and you feel safe. You're experienced, because the number 9 makes me think of pregnancy.
You're right.
9 months. It's an emotional process. It's a physical process. It's a mental process. It's spiritual. It's all of those things. And you have to be at your biggest at 9 months. That's when it's heavy.
Girl,
before this purging takes place and you birth something out of yourself, you're transforming, and that child is transforming at that moment. That both of y'all were transforming during the whole pregnancy, right? But when you get to the end, we have, and that's why the number 9 also represents the end or the closing of any type of phase, process, or
cycle.
Anything that is closed out, any type of cycle, a major cycle. This is why Scorpio energy is the number of transformation, and 9 is the equivalent to Scorpio energy, because this is the moment where transitioning is at its peak, and you can't do anything left but push the baby out. And you have a new baby, and that's 10. All right. We have birth, beginnings. That's the number 1. And then we have 10. That's rebirth. That's new beginnings. So we had a beginning when the baby was conceived. That's a birth right there, because it birthed itself from spirit to the physical body when it was conceived. So that's really the real birth. Okay. Yeah. Then you go through the 9 months of transforming. And then that 10 energy is when it's here. It's pushed out. The ring of fire has been conquered. The tower All right. And then we get to the outcome or the result, which is brand new life.
Yes.
And you're mentally, spiritually, and physically and emotionally changed to where things will never be the same. This is the type of energy that's happening. So the month of May is major when it comes to these transits. Um, and I'm here for it. At the end of the month, when we get to May 31st, 2022, um, this will be a partial solar eclipse on another new moon where the sun and the new moon are both in Taurus.
Mercy.
And the beauty of that with the rest of the transits happening the way they're happening is, like I said, that brings grounding to it all.
Okay. So the end of the month is another partial solar eclipse.
Yeah. So the end of the month, we have a partial solar eclipse during the new moon where the sun and the moon both will be in Taurus. And that's just going to bring us a lot of stability and grounding to the intensity that's going on, because we still have the Mercury retrograde that's starting May 10th. Clearly, it's already building. That's what I was just talking about how energy like that is usually felt long before
or after,
and or long after. So yeah, that's a pretty big thing. So, and that's why communication, is a big theme as well, because like I said, the number 3, which is the date that we're starting out on numerology wise, May 1st, 2022, breaks down to 3, and that's a very communicative number. So there's a lot going on, truthfully, in the sky that's going to bring a lot of moments where you have to try to understand others. You're going to want to be understood. You're going to want to be heard. And we're going to be facing a lot of emotional triggers while purging serious, deep-rooted triggers and trauma. Okay. And like I said, we have the Taurus energy that's stabilizing all of this, because without that, I would be not up for all this energy that's happening right now. I would want to just stay in my bed and cover my head until it's over.
Listen, I'm like, you know what? I'm just like, let's just get through this, because this is the most challenging episode ever.
I don't know. So okay, you know what? I'm just gonna make sure that I'm covering everything, and then I'm gonna pull some cards.
Okay.
We can make it to that point.
Yes, let's make it to that point, sis. We got this. All
right. Woosa.
Oh, by the way, I took my milk and honey bath last night. Girl, today I was just so relaxed. Nothing. Can nobody tell me nothing?
Yes.
I think I want to do it again every week. Like, that's how I feel. Like, my skin literally felt different.
I bet.
Yes.
I love that. Okay, so I'm pulling my notes back up.
Okay.
So, as a recap, we have, and I'm just going off of the astrology part. Full moon on May 16th will be in Scorpio, and this is a lunar eclipse. So if I give a brief description of just that transit by itself, like I said, Scorpio energy is emotional, And so there will be a desire for meaningful emotional exchanges. Now more than any other time, you're going to want to connect to someone on a deep level. You're going to crave being felt and understood and seen.
You mean so felt like, ooh, I want to be in
Yeah. I mean, because, if you think of any Scorpios, right, when they're into you, they're into you.
Mm-hmm.
They
I've
really,
never had a Scorpio that I know of.
oh my
I
gosh.
don't
I mean,
know.
talking about, they're the type that's going to be like, I love you. Don't you understand it? Love you. And they really mean it, but it's intense and it's like, you know. So this is the energy that everybody is going to be embodying in this realm. We're going to be very passionate, in an intense way, okay, emotionally, when it comes to our relationships, especially the ones that aren't satisfying us, because we still got those towers coming. Spirit is not going to let us sit around and deal with something that is not for us, and that we know, especially if we know that it's not satisfying us and we know that it's not serving our highest good or really bringing us anywhere. This is the moment where you're going to get a rude awakening, or to where you're not going to be able to ignore it. Okay. So that's a really intense way for a full moon to kick off, man, because the moon by itself is water energy. The full moon intensifies whatever sign and whatever house that it's in. And then it's in Scorpio of all things, which is very intense and like um gut wrenching when it comes to facing your feelings.
Yeah.
um, and then if we move on to the new moon, May 30th, I don't think I said what sign that one is taking place.
So May 31st was the number 9,
6.
right? Oh, 6. That's right.
Yeah. So this is where I was getting tied up at. So, of course, I do the beginning of the month, the first, and the end of the month, which would be the 31st. But the new moon is on the 30th in Gemini. So, I think I said that kind of wrong earlier, but the new moon in Gemini on May 30th. This is a number that actually breaks down to 5. This is the date of the new moon, as opposed to the end of the month energy on the 31st. So just be advised of that difference there. Still very close together by being one day of a difference. So all of this energy is going uh, all together. It works together. But the new moon in Gemini basically is energy that's going to prompt us to want change and variety, adventure, because Gemini energy is air energy. Gemini energy is air energy that's very hyper. Geminis have a lot of energy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Got Gemini babies, so we know.
Right. That's why I'm saying that.
Girl, I'm about to have a fit over here.
Girl, I'm about to have a fit. I need to be in the bed. It's almost 1:00 where I'm at, man.
Yeah, no, we need to be in the bed. Okay. You were saying let's do this part, and then if you could pull some cards, and we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Yes, I don't want us to keep going through this. This is it. This is antagonizing.
I'm just tired. Like I ain't even tripping over the technicalities because, as you know, it happens.
No, I'm tired too, girl. I was about to fall asleep in that meeting that lasted a freaking hour, almost 2 hours. Crazy. Okay, so you were saying that May 30th is number 5. It's the date of the new moon, which prompts us to want the change and variety.
Right. Variety, spontaneity, adventure. It's high energy. It's really exciting energy. It's curious energy, wanting to learn new things, wanting to teach things. Um, Gemini energy is very intellectual. They like to learn and they're very good at teaching. They may or may not like teaching. So to close out, um, being that the new moon in Gemini is to bring variety and change and adventure. It brings a lot of communication to the forefront, communication that needs to be had. Um, we'll have a very strong, sense to express how we feel verbally and to say the things that we feel, even if these are things we've been holding back on saying, or if it's things that, we kind of just hold on to on the inside because we don't want to offend someone or we want to avoid conflict and things like that. This is going to be a time where you're not going to want to hold back from anything that you want to say. Um, and so this applies to communication when it comes to work things as well as, speaking about what you deserve, even, if it's pay or something like that. Um, this is, just very communicative energy that is meant to help us to come to an understanding of each other, which collectively would help humanity as a whole, to bridge the gap, further to bringing us to oneness and acceptance. Then the partial solar eclipse in Taurus, that is where the end of the month and the new moon falls, which just brings further stability and groundedness when it comes to the shakeups or the breakdowns that could happen from the Scorpio energy, these towers, these triggers and things like that that's coming up because, we need to face some things about ourselves that still needs to be cleansed. So May 30th, being in Gemini, that's not a coincidence that card of all things came out, a new moon in Gemini card. Communication is key. So that's going to be a major theme to where we're having to commit to whatever it is that we want once we express what we want and how we feel about whatever it is. Be committed to your desires and what you feel like will make you feel fulfilled, or what you feel you need to create or build, because like I said, there's some towers coming. So it's going to be a moment where we're going to have to build and rebuild, and a lot of that is going to come from conversations that have to be had in order to be able to commit to a vision that we have, because we have this fixed moon card that came out that says hold your vision. Okay, so be committed to whatever it is your mission is, to whatever it is your vision is, and communicate everything that you need to in order to see this vision come to fruition. This says communication is key. So we're going to say this is the key of the theme of this month, because like I said, communication is a big theme for this month anyways, even without the new moon in Gemini at the end of the month. Like I said, we start off the month on a date that breaks down to the number 3, which is also a major number of communication. So and then we have another card that came out that says nothing is yet set in stone. So don't take too many things at face value. Certain things that's going on, don't worry about it too much because it can go either way. When you communicate whatever it is that you feel that you need to communicate to shake some things up to see change. Okay. So hold your vision, stay committed to what it is that you want. Remember that communication is key. And, just know nothing's yet set in stone. So kind of stay detached from outcomes when it comes to whatever it is that you are feeling passionate about at this moment. Because like I said, with the Scorpio energy that is here this month, there's a lot of purging taking place. There's going to be a lot of conversations that need to be had. And then we have a Mercury retrograde starting May 10th. Which always affect everything that has anything to do with communication. So utilize that Taurus energy, if nothing else, to stay grounded, especially at the end of the month where the new moon and the sun will be in Taurus. So that's all I have for today. I am thankful I was able to get this segment out so that we can be prepared for the month of May moving forward.
Thank you all so much for tuning into this week's episode on the MetaSpiritualist Podcast. We hope that this episode provides you with clarity, guidance, and comfort on your spiritual path or faith walk. To dial into our frequency, please be sure to follow us on Facebook at The MetaSpiritualist, Twitter at MetaSpirit21, and of course on Podbean, Apple, Google, the iHeartRadio app, and Listen Notes. We're now on TuneIn, Radio app, and Spotify. Also, we'd like to invite you to visit our brand new website at www.themetaspiritualist.com. Right on the homepage, you can listen to the podcast, learn more about our platform, and soon we'll have a spiritual shop for all of your metaphysical and spiritual needs. You'll also find a page on our spiritual offerings, so if you'd like to book a session, you can do so right on the website. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to our newsletter today. If you enjoy the content being brought to you, feel free to message us at metaspiritualist@gmail.com. Until next time, we hope that you are in peace, harmony, love, and abundance.